I try to remember to take my glasses off for you guys, but never the hat. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. Now I lost my place. I am Mimi, the Supreme Commander of the universe, and I use the pronouns Supreme Commander, she, her, hers, they, them, theirs. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your image of the holy, you are welcome here. If this is your first time with us, we'd love to get to know you. Please sign in our guest sign-in book in the foyer. You can also speak with our greeter, Mike Begnaud. He's out in the foyer. Or Rebecca Howard. I don't see her. She's here, though. She's out there, too. Oh, there she is. Wave again, Rebecca. There you go. And now I really lost my place. The chairperson of our membership committee. If you are joining us online, hello. Please sign our virtual guest book. The link is located in the notes below the video. You can also submit a virtual joy or sorrow to be read the next week in our service. To learn all about our spiritual enrichment programs for all ages, please feel free to talk to Terra, Louise. Back there waving again. Now I lost my place. Our Director of Lifespan Spiritual Enrichment. For kids here in our service, we have our activity table up front, and it's there where it's supposed to be. We ask that kids use whisper voices to talk while you're at this table. Kids can also stay with their parents. Parents and kids can also sit in our library room that goes out there into the whatever direction that is, and you can see people through the window. Hi. We also have a nursery for young kiddos, 0 to 3 years old. Our nursery coordinator, Sarah Hamoud, would be happy to check in your kiddos. We have our Candles of Community area over here and at the back. You are invited to come up during the first hymn or now or any time before the prayer time to light a candle. And if you would also like to, you are welcome to write your joy or sorrow in the book, which is up here at the front next to the candles. Today, our Reverend Tina Dio is on vacation and will be back next Sunday, so we welcome Reverend Jenny Amstutz back for her second week as our guest minister. Reverend Jenny Amstutz was recently called to service as the settled minister at Columbine UU Church, a small congregation in Littleton, Colorado. After serving as their contract minister since 2021, oh, that's how long she's been there. Gotcha. Before seminary, Reverend Jenny spent her young adult years building eco-villages, that sounds super cool, in different parts of the U.S. and abroad. Now she lives near where she grew up with her husband and the youngest 3 of her 5 tween-teen young adult kids and a menagerie of pets, including her very own real-life jet pig, Maisie, who I did not put a picture of in the slides today. However, her little stuffed jet pig is right here. Please go ahead and silence your cell phones and other noise-making devices you may have, like squeaky toys for your dogs, or power tools, or rubber duckies, that sort of thing. We will begin our worship service together. Church announcements can be read weekly through your email, can be found on our website, on our monthly printed flyers, on the back of your bulletin, and on our social media pages. Today we are highlighting a few announcements. Today, after the service, we will have special guest Kathy Worth of Capital Hearing Care in Santa Fe, who will be speaking on hearing loss and the risk of cognitive decline. Contrary to common wisdom, how hearing loss affects people's lives is complex, but much new information has come out in recent years about how it affects our cognition, moods, and behaviors. I believe Kathy Worth has decades of expertise in this area and follows the research. She will help us better understand this unfolding information. Los Alamos Pride Festival will be on Friday, June 13th. Please sign up to help at our church's Pride Festival table. You can use the QR code to sign up to help. The Earth Body Dance Workshop has been postponed until Sunday, August 3rd. And now Patrick Webb will share about the men's retreat, the upcoming men's retreat.
Yes, good morning. So if you haven't already, please sign up for the men's retreat coming next Saturday, June 14th. It will be here at the church, back in the assembly room. We're going to meet in the morning. Kathy Gursky is going to lead us through some seated yoga to warm up and just get our brains going. There'll be snacks. We're going to discuss the book, Atlas of the Heart by Brené Brown. I have read through it. It's pretty good, and we're just going to focus on a few select portions. Once we have some discussion, we'll have some lunch, and we have a couple of different things. I want to emphasize that the retreat is meant to be as self-directed by the participants as possible. So come with ideas and come with energy, and we will pick what we want to do in the afternoon based on that. But don't worry, I have plenty of things in my back pocket. So I look forward to it being a good time, a good afternoon, spending time with a bunch of folks. So please sign up so that we know how much to purchase in terms of snacks and refreshments. I think that's it. Thank you. Oh, and come see me for any questions.
Thank you, Patrick. You are now invited to greet your neighbor by introducing yourself. If you would rather just wave and not shake hands, that is okay too. I will call us back with a chime. What's her? Now I'd like to invite Reverend Jenny up for the call to worship and chalice lighting, and Evelyn will be our chalice lighter for the day.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Jenny Amstutz, as Mimi let you know. I use she, they pronouns. I'm really excited to be here again this week. I was just telling somebody we had car trouble, had to buy a new car, had to go home and come back. And I left my jet pig here last week, so I'm glad to be back to collect him again and take him back to Colorado. This morning I'm hoping to explore with you one of our shared UU values in our shared values covenant, which is transformation and how it's connected to our call to civic courage. Our call to worship this morning comes from Reverend Gretchen Haley. She writes, it's called Grace Meets Us Where We Are. There is nothing to bring with you to be welcome here. No right beliefs, no proof of citizenship, no early optimism or clarity of conviction. No boundless courage or endless expertise. You don't need to know what brought you here or how you will solve the problem that you are turning over and over and over in your mind. Your bills do not need to be paid, and your checkbook might be a mess. Your children may have been up half the night. Your hearing aids may not be working, and your knees may be creaking. You do not need to be already perfect or even halfway to belong in this circle where grace meets us where we are, but does not leave us as it found us. Where love resides in each of us and yet is somehow more than all. Where life still pulses and rages and heals and transforms, creating us and this new day once again. Come, let us worship together. Do we light? Oh, it's lit. I couldn't see it. And now let us rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 1012, When I Am Frightened. Please remain standing for our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve life in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. Thus we do covenant with each and with all.
Good morning, beloveds. So, yes, I'll need your patience as I figure this out. We're going to try to do a Pecha Kucha to talk about camp and to share how amazing it was. So, if you can go back to the first slide. Oh, yeah, can we dim the lights? And yeah. Thank you. So a Pecha Kucha is a 20 seconds a slide, 20 seconds a slide, 20 slides. So I'm going to wait till they're ready. And while I'm doing that, I want to thank all the people who were involved. Mimi was part of camp, Barb Mann, Ann Sherman, Beth Bowman, Dylan, Britton. Craig came and did a walk after camp. There was so many people. Pete made food for everybody. Elizabeth and Isa were amazing. Kak Young taught Kung Fu every morning. We had so much participation. Galen even came for lunch and set up tables. Can you, I'm just going to wait till they're ready. I guess I can't. Can I go back? I don't think so. Can you go back to the first slide, please? You can't start at the beginning? There's not a beginning? Okay. Okay. I don't know how it works. How did I get? Okay. Well, at the top. I go to the top. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, you ready? We're going to try to start at the same time. Okay. Okay, so every morning we started with Kung Fu, with Kak Young. And we were studying Blue Zone principles, and part of that is movement and having natural movement throughout your life, and part of that is just the work of life. So in the picture below, we're preparing a salad. The kids all worked together, and we made a huge salad, which we'll show you what we did with. So we went to the farmer's market in Espanola, and over here is Karina. She's now the person who runs the farmer's market there. Nolan's got mud all over his hands because they were making seed balls, and here's Lacey helping, and up there is Ryan. He's helping make the seed balls. That was something he brought from Table Women United. And then over here we have Girardelli. They made tamales, and so we ordered tamales, and the kids, some of them hadn't tried tamales before, and we also got a whole bunch of tamales. So there's all of us gathered, and it was really sweet because we had paid them for the tamales, and then they gave the kids all sorts of drinks to try. And then we took the salads and the tamales, and we went to the Pathways homeless shelter in Espanola. And so we had incredible discussions there, as well as passing out tamales and salad. We talked about decriminalizing poverty, what that meant. The kids got to see the shelter. They got to see all the spaces. Then we went to the Santuario in Chimayo and exploring pluralism and different backgrounds. And the kids got to touch the holy dirt. We got to walk around and learn about it. Isa had more experience, and she was able to share things about that. And then, I guess I'll just look up. And then we, in the next morning, this is the start of the next morning, and so Kak Young was teaching us how to make dragons with our hands, which was really, they're doing it now. And so you can see the different dragons they're doing, and the kids got really into horse dance, and they liked doing the horse dance. And sometimes when we were out on our outings, they were trying to horse riding stance. They wanted to do that as long and see how long anybody could hold it for. Then the next day, we went to the co-op. Oh, no, that same day. We went to the co-op, and we got to tour the background of the co-op, and we compared co-ops versus corporations, and we talked about that. And we got sandwiches. We all ordered sandwiches, and we toured the whole back side of the co-op, and we got to meet with the manager. And then we went to the food depot in Santa Fe, and so half of the kids got to stay and sort potatoes, and they bagged 1,000 pounds of potatoes. And Ryan, who comes to our church, works at the food depot, and so they joined us on our tour, and it was amazing to see like the food distribution that they're doing there. The other half of the kids went to the Agua Fria nursery, and we got to tour with Bob, who started the nursery 50 years ago. It's their 50th year, and it was really cool to hear his perspective. He even took us to his yard and showed us a century flower and talked about the century flower, and then. And it was fun because we had Maven with us, and she grew up on a farm, so she knew the name of every plant. And the next morning, we started with Kung Fu again, and then Britton came and talked about native pollinators, and she had, again, we made more seed balls, and the kids did a really cool game where they practiced being pollinators or flowers, and they got to see what happened and what effects in the environment would affect what flowers did well and what pollinators did well. And then after that, Barb took some of the kids outside, and they got to give the plants names, like creative names, like Serendipity and Florence. And so they toured our grounds here. Meanwhile, while the other kids were inside with Robert Sayre, and they were learning to cook, and he taught stuff that was even new to me about how to slice and cook. And so we had even the littlest ones were chopping and cutting and working together, and we made an incredible meal. So they made another big salad, which is a really good thing for chopping. You get to do a lot of chopping. And we also made a spaghetti lunch. And so you can see the kids working together. There's Robert and Sebastian, and you can see the kids reacting to cutting all those onions. And so it was really, really special for them to get empowered to be able to cook. And after that, Dylan came, and we got to do chemistry with Dylan and learn about the spectrum of acids and bases. And so it was really exciting that when they first poured the, the universal, what's the word? I can't remember. The thing that makes everything that can measure it. But then the water changed color right away, and we're like, whoa! And then you can see the reaction up there, which was pretty fun. And they also made little gummy worms, so that was cool. And then we did a try it fair, and so many of the kids did try the squid that Kak Young brought. It was a dried squid. And Evelyn was great at conducting and leading the try it fair. Mimi stayed and made blue boats. You can see one in Dylan's head. And then the other kids, they initiated to lead groups themselves, and so one of them was leading a doodle thing, and the other one taught perspective and skyscrapers. So the next day we started with Kung Fu, and then we went to the farmer's market. We walked to the farmer's market here, and we were able to compare the difference between the farmer's market here and in Espanola. And we got lunch together, and we toured the farmer's market, and we got to talk to several of the people who are there. And then we headed over to Ponderosa Campground. And so when we were there, Isa led a session on survival skills, and she showed the kids how to make a fire, how to filter water. But what was really cool is she talked about our emotional health and like how the emotional first aid as well as our physical first aid. And so here, a lot of them are trying, they got to wear slings and try slings on each other and figure that out. And then there's the emergency water filtration. We did not drink the water we filtered. We were just there talking about how we could do that. And then the next day, Jesse and Johanna came from Zier Energetics, and they talked about foraging. And so they said that you can eat any mushroom, but some you can only eat once. But it was amazing. We made this green juice from things we gathered. It was delicious. And then the big thing was the relationships, everybody connecting, and it was amazing to spend this week together. And we had people coming and going. If there were people who couldn't come the whole time, they came part of the time. And I'm really grateful for having the staff, having Isa and Elizabeth with me throughout to plan and to set things up, and then all the wonderful volunteers we had. And so it was an awesome, awesome camp, and I hope you join us next year. Thank you.
Okay. Our offering for June is taken up on behalf of the Transgender Resource Center of New Mexico. The Transgender Resource Center supports transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming communities through direct services, education, and advocacy. Please feel free to use the QR code for the Givelify app on the screen. Thank you for sharing your monetary gifts this morning. May what you give bring you joy. Thank you for your generosity this morning. May your gifts help the transgender community of New Mexico. During this time, you are invited to come up to our Candles of Community space. Here, if you haven't already, light a candle. And you can light candles back there too. And write a joy or sorrow in our book, which is up here next to these candles. Joys and sorrows that are written will then be read out loud. During this time, you can remain seated and join in singing our meditation song, Spirit of Life, twice through. Number 1, 2, 3. joy. Ellie Gisler's cancer is in remission. In memory of Peg Dahl, who passed away suddenly last week. Peg was a member of the church and also served on the staff here at the church. Holding Walter, Charlotte, Amy, and Aaron, a celebration of the beloved Ursula's life will be held this Tuesday at 5. And for all of the joys or sorrows that remain unspoken at our hearts for now or possibly forever. Thank you. Our reflection today is A Blessing for Traveling in the Dark by Jan Richardson. Go slowly if you can. More slowly still. This is no place to break your neck by rushing, by running, by crashing into what you cannot see. Then again, it is true, different darks have different tasks. And if you have arrived here unawares, if you have come in peril or in pain, this might be no place that you should dawdle. I don't know what these shadows ask of you, what they might hold that means you good or ill. It is not for me to reckon whether you should linger or you should leave. But this I can ask for you, that in the darkness there be a blessing, that in the shadows there be a welcome, that in the night you be encompassed by the love that knows your name.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Unitarian Universalism isn't for the faint of heart. It isn't for the closed-minded, stubborn people, people afraid of change. It isn't for people who choose to curl into their little turtle shell or relax into their privilege and ignore the plight of our fellow humans. Unitarian Universalism calls us into action and out of our comfort zones, but it's still a faith practice for real people, not just superheroes. UUs are people who make mistakes. We are imperfect people, people who struggle to get it right. And the journey to transform ourselves is built into our understanding of our theology. This is why this morning I wanted to go a little deeper into our shared value of transformation, which is on our shared values covenant with love at the center. In case, I don't know if people know what this whole jet pig thing is, but this might be the moment to point out that people noticed after our last summer at General Assembly, Unitarian Universalists voted for this new covenant of 6 shared values with love at the center, and some clever person noticed right away that justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity spells jet pig. So this was my birthday present from my husband this year, was a jet pig. It does help us remember. It's really a gift to be able to travel to a few different congregations this past few years, and everywhere I go, I find UUs who are bound to our commitment to transforming ourselves and growing our spirituality. In my 20s, somebody, being maybe a little bit insulting, called me the little trier. At the time, it made me mad and hurt my feelings, but as I grow and change and learn more about myself, now I take it as a compliment. I think it's a good description of Unitarian Universalists. We are the little triers. We don't always get it right, but we are committed to transformation, so we keep trying. And at this point in my life, I think that's the definition of success. People who keep striving to do better and don't give up. At this particular time in the history of our country, many of us are feeling discouraged because after all the trying that we have done to bring justice to people who have been traditionally marginalized by their identities, after all the trying and all that our predecessors have done to bring justice and equity to our communities, we are now bearing witness to decades of progress being rolled back, dismantled, and destroyed. Sometimes it's overwhelming, it's discouraging, and it's enough to make us want to stop trying, to just give up. But we don't give up. Instead, we come together. We come together held by our UU covenants to build communities that we can rely on to help us to continue on our personal and our social justice paths to transformation. As UUs, we believe that revelation is not sealed. Before I went to seminary, I must have heard that phrase in my home congregation many, many times for about 15 years before I started to understand what it means. Perhaps I'm a slow learner, but all it means is that we as UUs do not believe that truth is static, that there is one defining creed that we can recite that will save us, or that we can ever achieve a full understanding of the mysteries of life and the universe. Our UU faith is a call to continual evolution, transformation, and greater understanding. We need to be willing to adapt ourselves and to evolve in order to meet the challenges of our lives and of these times. Though millions of people have witnessed events similar to what we're seeing now throughout history, these times that we're living in, these events unfolding around us, are unprecedented in our lifetimes. The bad news of hatred and exclusion and greed and corruption just keep coming at us like that old Atari game for older people. Do you remember? The asteroids just fly at you and you're constantly trying to dodge them before you get blown up. We're shooting and they just keep coming. It's exhausting. That's what the news feels like to me these days, like an Atari asteroids game. If we're not careful, we can be exhausted by all that's going on and seduced back into our little turtle shells. It is easy to succumb to a sense of hopelessness. Many of us are feeling vulnerable and outraged, and those feelings are appropriate. They can be translated into a call for action, a call to find our courage and our strength. And the thing is, we won't really know what we're made of until we have to tap into that courage and that strength. It's times like these where we learn exactly what we're made of. After the election in 2016, Slate magazine editor Dahlia Lithwick shared the story of her 11-year-old son who was worried that he might have to defend other children from racists and bigots on the playground at school. Lithwick wrote, "My son feared that he wasn't up to the task." She said his words at the time broke my heart. He said something like, "I know myself, Mom. I'm never going to be the number one guy to step in. If someone else steps up, I could be the number two guy, but I don't think I could stop it myself." Many of us can relate to that little boy. Many of us have just enough courage to be someone who's willing to step up and interrupt, hurt, or harm if someone else leads the way. And maybe that's okay. Not everyone is Greta Thunberg or Rosa Parks or Dr. King, but that doesn't mean that we can't each grow our civic courage from the place we're at right now. The CEO of Mother Jones Magazine, Monica Bauerlein, says, quote, "Instead of reaching for heroism we can't achieve, civic courage is about finding the thing we can do." I think this reframing is essential if we're not to fall into despair and overwhelm when so many people are being unfairly targeted. Bauerlein encourages us to be realistic and to focus on what's possible for each of us within the context of our own lives. She reminds us that our call to action, our civic courage, can manifest as simply as helping to get out the vote, marching on the streets, signing petitions, sharing accurate information on social media, volunteering to serve marginalized people, or by joining a social justice group, possibly at a UU church. It means finding your niche, your power within the limits of your capacity and situation, and also what calls to you. Civic courage can mean a lot of different things. It can mean being a whistleblower, or it can be really simple, like asking someone, "Are you okay?" when they are in distress or being targeted. As UUs, if we are doing our anti-racism work, which we are called to do in that covenant, we learn to interrupt microaggressions, and that is a countercultural form of civic courage, and it is one that is desperately needed. Sometimes we have to practice speaking up, being uncomfortable, and being willing to make someone else uncomfortable. And our UU church communities are a great place to do that. Our shared value of transformation is a call to grow, a call to be brave, and the call to be a little trier. It is a call to be conscious of where we put our focus and our energy, noticing what we read, our thoughts, where we spend our money, and whose voices we choose to amplify. We have the opportunity every single day to create a silent grassroots revolution, a collection of small acts of kindness and courage done by all of us everyday people that add up to the whole being greater than the sum of the parts. These are actions that model and normalize tolerance, patience, honesty, respecting other people's worth and dignity. When I think about these things, I think about road rage. It's the opposite of road rage. I don't know if that happens in Los Alamos, but Denver's grown really fast. Denver used to be cool, but now there's a lot of tension and competition on the road and a lot of traffic, which adds to that. But culturally, it's countercultural at this point to let somebody in, to forgive them for making a mistake, just to be cool. Tolerance, patience, respecting other people's worth and dignity. We have to keep the faith that all these little acts are important, I've got your thing now, important in the fight that we have to usher in a new age. The fight to usher in a new age, that's a strange way of putting it actually. But we are in a battle right now for gentleness, a battle to dismantle white supremacy and patriarchy, elitism, worship of money, xenophobia, corruption. We need to listen to this call for a revolution with love at the center. We are called now to use our voices to promote and normalize kindness. And whether we do that loudly and publicly or quietly, we inspire others to civic courage. The more that we stand for inclusion and equity in the world around us, we transform into more courageous and confident versions of ourselves. It gets easier the more you do it, the more your amygdala realizes that if you speak up for what's right, a tiger does not usually eat you. And you feel good about yourself. But it's not easy. Unitarian Universalism isn't passive, it's hard work. But it is a saving faith, a faith that calls us to venture outside our comfort zones and take some risks. We believe that our lives are our sacred text, and the choices we make are the stepping stones towards our own transformation. For some of us, transformation can be a call to action, to try harder, to be louder and bolder. It can call us to care more deeply for others and make sure all are protected and cared for. Or transformation may also manifest as a call to less action, a call to acceptance, letting go, caring for ourselves and our own inner peace, setting healthy boundaries. Or the call can be both to the action and to the acceptance and self-care. The revolution requires us to be strong and centered and have strategies for knowing how to pick our battles and still stay joyful and courageous. It's possible. At my congregation, we have the opportunity to work with a multicultural interfaith group of folks who have been working for legislative justice and equity for decades. Demographically, it's mostly the AME church, the older Black community, mostly women. They've been in the fight for so long. Some of them have been social justice warriors since the 80s or the 70s. Sometimes they win battles for compassionate legislation in Colorado, working hard for people in the margins, immigrants, the poor, children, the queer community, renters. They've done a lot of work around mobile home parks and housing justice. And sometimes in the course of their work, they experience brutal defeats, especially lately. But there's something about that group of activists that has taught me and our church so much. They're multi-generational, multicultural, multi-faith, and they really love each other. They put love at the center. They greet anyone who comes to help, anyone, with joy and hugs and food and joking around and having fun. Vicki Wilhite gives me the biggest hug, Reverend Jenny, every time I see her. And just that alone is just beautiful. And these are people who have personally experienced a lot of marginalization. And also, all this hard work they do that sometimes comes to fruition and sometimes doesn't, but they got the love and the joy. Even when the battles seem all uphill, they have joy, which is a great trick for not letting the bad guys win. There's another trick to staying strong and healthy in these times of struggle, and it is knowing the limits of our energy and our influence. Our covenant of shared values, our shared value of transformation calls us not just to action, but also to building our courage and our resilience from a very stable place inside ourselves. Because no matter what, and this I'm preaching to my own self, we're no good to anyone if we don't protect and preserve our physical and mental health. Each of us in a church this size, there's many things going on at any given time. You may be dealing with illness or grief, physical pain, financial difficulties, family conflicts, worry about someone you care about. Not all of us are physically able to march on the streets. Many of us, most of us, struggle with family, health, financial difficulties. And then, if you add all that stuff in our personal lives to our distress about the current situation in the wider world, we can only hold so much. Many of us are busy surviving our lives and maybe a little too busy to be able to lead the fight for social justice. But even if you aren't at the forefront, it still matters what you do. Whatever you give matters. The world needs your love and care and courage, even if it's in little small acts, positive and creative thoughts and visions. The world needs each of us to know our limits and take care of our precious selves, to discern what is ours to do and what is not, what we can change and what we can't change. It's like the serenity prayer, and then the courage to change what we can. I have to remind myself sometimes that not one of us on our own can control the rapid dismantling of systems meant to provide health care, protection, and safety to vulnerable people. We can't single-handedly, any one of us, stop the irreversible environmental cost of rolling back legal protections for our air, oceans, animals, and the planet. But we can show up at a protest, call our elected officials, sign petitions, donate to the ACLU, and follow the lead of activists working for justice. And we can speak up when we hear something unkind or exclusionary. We can't control other people's opinions, but we can be mindful of our own thoughts and our voice for justice. We can cultivate a practice of wise discernment about where we put our energy, our words, and our time. So no matter what is going on around us, we have power. We have the power to care for others and to serve others. We have the power to care for ourselves and know the limits that we have and approach our lives with courage and compassion, not just for other people, but for ourselves as well. Our UU faith is a tool that we can use to help us keep getting ourselves unstuck, to keep ourselves learning and becoming more self-aware, expanding our hearts and minds to hold this world in care, in gratitude, and in joy. My prayer for each one of you today is that, and for all of us, is that we may be courageous. If that's in a big way, like chaining ourselves to bulldozers, or in a small way, like speaking up against hurt and harm to others, or small gestures of kindness, or just being kind when somebody makes a mistake driving. Being forgiving with our partners, our children, our workmates. May we accept the limits of our influence gracefully. And remember that even if we can't on our own save climate change or racism all by ourselves, we can find meaning and hope in doing what we can, when we can, as small or large as our gestures may be. Blessed be, and may it be so. And now will you please stand in body or spirit as we sing our closing song number 118, This Little Light of Mine. That's an African-American spiritual that just so perfectly demonstrates what I'm talking about, the people who've been in the fight and keep the joy. I'll leave you today with the words of UU minister Reverend Wayne B. Arneson. He says, "Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone."
Please feel to join hands or not, whichever is your preference, for our closing song, The Way.